Good evening. Bersatu's leader has claimed that PAS is not the only party to have received funds from his party. Meanwhile, Sanusi's remarks on Bersatu's finance has led to attacks from UMNO regarding its past dealings with PAS. Stay tuned for all this and more on KiniNews. Tun Faisal Ismail Aziz has claimed that Umno and BN had also received funds from Bersatu during the previous Sabah state election.
Bersatu Information Chief Tun Faisal Ismail Aziz has claimed that PAS was not the only party that had received funds from Bersatu. In a statement on Facebook, he claimed that during the Sabah state election in 2020, Bersatu President Muhyiddin Yassin, who was Prime Minister at the time, also gave 10 million ringgit to UMNO. He said when Muhyiddin was Prime Minister and Bersatu was part of the government, he offered financial assistance to everyone, including Umno and BN, who had eventually betrayed him. According to him, when Umno and BN lacked funds, then Secretary General Anwar Musa asked for assistance and he was given 10 million ringgit. He claimed the monies were then delivered by one of Anwar's aides to UMNO President Ahmad Zaid Hamidi's offices at the Magellan Hotel in Sabah. Tun Faisal said this in response to UMNO Secretary General Ashraf Wajdi Duski, who said yesterday that Bersatu footing PAS's election bills in the previous general election were confirmation of rumours about why the Islamist party abandoned its partnership with UMNO. Ashraf was the UMNO youth chief at the time of the Sabah 2020 election.
Yesterday, in his statement, Ashraf had taken a swipe at PAS over the matter.
UMNO Secretary General Ashraf Wajdi Dusuki has commented on the claim that Bersatu had footed the election bills for PN in the 15th general election. In a post on Facebook, he said it was no wonder that PAS was willing to leave UMNO in Perikatan Nasional to join Bersatu in registering and forming PN. He added that at that time, many had already shared information that Bersatu had offered PAS financial assistance to face GE15. Therefore, he said, when the former political secretary to Muhyiddin Yassin himself revealed that all of Perikatan Nasional's expenses, including those of PAS candidates, were borne by Bersatu, it only confirms what was said back then. Meanwhile, UMNO Supreme Council member Puat Zarkashi said Marzuki's counterattack against PAS Vice President Sanusi Nor has raised several questions about PAS. First, he said, was that the party didn't know how to be grateful after Bersatu went through all the trouble to provide funds for them. He also questioned whether PAS had asked Bersatu about the source of the funding. Puat said PN had looked lavish during GE15, even though it had just been formed, and asked where the money came from.
Still on the topic, PAS has dismissed Bersatu's claim and challenged them to provide more details.
PAS Vice President and Perikatan Nasional Election Director Sanusi Nor has told Bersatu to give more details on claims that it had channeled financial contributions to PAS during GE15. This was in response to the remarks by Marzuki Muhammad, the former aide to Muhyiddin Yassin when the Bersatu president was Prime Minister. According to Free Malaysia Today, Sanusi said that his party did not rely on Bersatu funds. He stressed that PAS had funded its own election campaign expenses, especially in Kedah. He further claimed that PAS had even helped supply equipment and materials for Bersatu candidates, and only one candidate reimbursed Kedah PAS. He added that the party's operations were funded through contributions from members. With this, Sanusi asked Marzuki who Bersatu gave the money to, saying that he would also like to know. Yesterday, Marzuki had rebutted Sanusi's statements made during his winding-up speech at the close of PAS 71st Muktamar. In that speech, Sanusi had mocked Bersatu for supposedly enjoying an easier ride in the election by relying on PAS's facilities and machinery. Marzuki, however, clarified that Bersatu had borne PN's election costs during GE15, which enabled PAS to win 43 parliamentary seats. He also claimed that Bersatu gave PAS a significant amount of financial contributions.
From now on, you can also listen to KiniNews on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Scan the QR code on the screen to follow us.
A PAS leader has told PN to focus on strengthening unity instead of focusing on the Prime Minister candidate issue.
PAS Deputy President Tuan Ibrahim Tuan Man has urged Perikatan Nasional to focus on strengthening the coalition. In a statement, he said they should not waste time entertaining slanders from their enemies or spins that are deliberately exaggerated. He added that the issue of a prime ministerial candidate is only relevant if PN wins big and qualifies to lead the federal government. He stressed that PN should not burn the midnight oil or rack their brains just to serve their opponent's agenda of seeing PN divided. Tuan Ibrahim added that while PN holds 73 parliamentary seats and control 4 states, the coalition's journey is still long. He said, although the shadow of Putrajaya is visible, it is not yet clear, and as the saying goes, they should rear the goats first before discussing the division of profits. He also reminded PN component parties, PAS, Bersatu, Gerakan, and MIPP, to work as one team and not rest on past achievements. He said they should strengthen their unity in facing the Sabah state election as the first test before steering the ship towards Putrajaya. He also called for PN to return to Islamic solutions for a better future for the country. Questions surrounding PAS as Prime Minister candidate were debated during the PAS Muktamar in Kedah, after party president Abdul Hadi Awang in his policy speech on Monday indicated the party's readiness to govern the country. At a press conference later, Hadi elaborated that leaders above the age of 70, which includes himself and PN chairperson Muhyiddin Yassin, should not be the Prime Minister.
Selangor ruler Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah has shared his views on the redevelopment in the Kampung Baru area.
Selangor ruler Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah has urged for the issue of the redevelopment of the Kampung Baru area to be handled carefully and wisely, with priority placed on the interests of the Malays. In a statement issued today, His Royal Highness said that he had no objection to developing the area, but stressed that Kampung Baru's heritage and historical role as a Malay enclave must be safeguarded. Sultan Sharafuddin decreed that in every consideration made by all parties involved in this matter, the original history and heritage of Kampung Baru must be taken into account. He said Kampung Baru has been a symbol of Malay awakening since 1900 and emphasized once again that the area plays an important role in the survival and dignity of the Malays in Kuala Lumpur. Sultan Sharafuddin also noted that Kampung Baru, established in 1899, was recognized as a Malay agricultural settlement via a Selangor State Gazette granted by his ancestor, the 5th ruler of the state. He recalled that the area once housed the Sultan Sulaiman Club, which was the venue for the Malay Congress of Malaya in 1946 that led to UMNO's formation. He also highlighted that it served as a place of refuge for Malays during the fatal riots on May 13, 1969. The official residences of the Selangor Menteri Besar and the Selangor State Secretary were also located in Kampung Baru at one point in time. As such, he said any decision or development effort in Kampung Baru must consider the present and future interests of the Malays. In a statement later, the Selangor Palace said that Sultan Sharafuddin was expressing his views regarding the history, future, and direction of the entire Kampung Baru area, and his remarks were not directed on the current issue about the redevelopment of Kampung Sungai Baru.
Back to Sanusi's remarks, Bersih has urged the government to amend the Election Offence Act following his statement.
Bersih has called on the government to amend the existing Election Offences Act 1954. This came after past leader Sanusi Nor claimed that up to 1 million ringgit is needed to campaign for parliamentary seats in each constituency. In a statement today, Bersih said that Sanusi's statement suggests that political parties might be spending more than the legal spending limits allow. It said that if the statement is true, then it raises questions about the credibility of politicians. Bersih reminded all parties, especially political parties, that Section 19 of the Election Offences Act outlines an expenditure limit of 200,000 ringgit for Dewan Rakyat elections and 100,000 ringgit for State Legislative Assembly elections. With this, the group urged for Sections 23 and 24 of the Act to be amended to impose compulsory audits for election campaign spending by political parties and their respective candidates. It also called for the establishment of a special committee to monitor political donations and for the establishment of a Political Financing Act to impose penalties on offending parties. This is to improve the regulatory and legal mechanisms around elections, political financing, and spending by political parties and candidates. It cited a previous suggestion made by the All-Party Parliamentary Group on political financing to cap donations at 50,000 ringgit from individuals and 100,000 ringgit from corporations.
That is all from me for today. For more stories, you can go to kinitv.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'm Dishani. Thanks for watching.